Enlightened World Network's One with the Earth weekend launch. It's been an exciting weekend and lots of beautiful guests. And today our guest is Jane Montfort. And Jane and her husband Philip have a regular show on Enlightened World Network called the Soulful Living Show. And tonight her guest, well, it's today in Australia, but tonight her guest is, and I hope I get your name right, Sunny. It's Sunny Molavi, is that correct?
Yes.
And their show today is all about healing the world with love. And so I'll hand over to Jane and Sunny, and I'll stay here with you as well.
Wonderful. Thank you, Carol Ann. I'm so happy to be here, and I want to welcome everybody to this. We would consider this a special episode of Soulful Living, celebrating Enlightened World Network's new One with the Earth channel. And it does so much resonate, I think, for all three of us with where we are in our hearts. So I'm excited about what we're going to be able to share. And just as a note, every week, Soulful Living provides practical and enlightening tools for creating more joyful, meaningful, and prosperous lives from a soulful perspective, and really from a heart perspective. So today our topic, healing the world with love, is really in tune with all of that. My husband and I, we have three decades of experience in the fields of life coaching and healing, and we're published authors, trainers, coaches, and founding directors of IAHP, the International Association of Holistic Practitioners, which actually is part of a nonprofit organization we created called Awakenings Institute. I'll be talking more about that too, and about our mission, which is dedicated to creating a more loving world where the unique gifts that each individual brings are honored and nurtured. I do want, before we start, also to mention a few words about Sunny, who is just a really fine human being in my estimation. We're good friends. So along with being a wonderful human being, Sunny Molavi has her PhD in health psychology. She's a certified yoga instructor, healing touch practitioner, angelic Reiki practitioner, meditation instructor, and a holistic life coach with a background in nursing. She was a registered nurse in the emergency room and a nurse practitioner at Hazel Hawkins Clinics in California, and for the last 13 years has been working at Hazel Hawkins Palliative Care Department. She's director of palliative care and provides grief support to the community in San Benito County. I know Sunny through our holistic life coaching and healing program, which we offer through Awakenings Institute. And as you'll see, she's a deeply caring person with a beautifully compassionate heart. She has a passion to make the world a better place. And as we take time to heal the body, mind, and spirit, that healing can not only benefit us, but radiates out to the world, which of course radiates with our message today. She's especially passionate about reaching out to youth to teach self-care and coping skills to prevent or heal anxiety and depression that could lead to unhealthy choices. So I want to welcome you, Sunny, and also I'm so happy to have Carol Ann here because I know that she's like-minded and like-hearted too. So we're going to have a wonderful discussion, which I would like to offer Sunny an opportunity to start with telling us why this topic is relevant and important to you.
Hi, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. It's a true honor. Love is the force that moves us all. We are made out of love and light. So when we let go of the fear and bring love in our being, that is when it really opens us up and bring healing everywhere. And that's how I work. So I'm Persian and my name is Sanaz, and people call me Sunny ever since I came here. And Sanaz means grace, and grace is love in action. And I do believe that if we all live that love in action, this would be a beautiful world. And this is heaven, because Earth is like a spaceship in the world and the heaven. So we are in a safe spaceship of heaven. And if we just manifest that love, that is what our essence is, that will come out. And that's why this topic is so near and dear to my heart. It's a soul healer, it's a world healer, and I'm just so delighted to have opportunity to talk about love.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. And um, when Ruth Anderson mentioned to me that we were having this special weekend to honor the planet, it brought me back really to how my husband Philip and I came across our mission, which is really which I'm going to go into here with a little process I wanted to invite you to participate in, everyone who's joining us here. It was in the 1990s in California here in the United States. Sunny and Carol Ann are both from outside the country, but in the United States, it was a big thing that psychics were saying that California was going to have a major earthquake and fall off into the ocean. So being in California, we started having earth healing meditations, and we would gather in a circle, and every week we would do something different. And one week I was leading the meditation, and I asked the participants, which I'm going to ask everyone here watching to close their eyes for a few moments and focus on what the world would be like if love was the guiding force. And it actually, that took us to what we call awakening's dream, which I'm going to read as you just envision that world where everyone is resonating from a place of love and interacting in that way. Imagine a world where love is the guiding force, where the unique gifts that each individual brings receive honor and respect, where all are nurtured in allowing their gifts to blossom, to manifest the joy of living in each moment. Imagine a world where all of nature is also honored, so we may live in harmony and share an increasingly vibrant and beautiful environment. What we imagine we can create starting in this moment. This vibrant world will come into being as each of us empowers ourselves to live the dream now and share it with others. Playing a part in the creation of the dream is the mission of awakenings. In this dream, there is no poverty because everyone is nurtured and loved. This love also eliminates the focus on fear and separation as we bridge the divisions created by race, creed, and national borders to coexist together in harmony. The environment synchronously benefits everyone as people all over the world shift their focus to a more holistic approach that creates balance rather than congesting our home planet with chemicals and toxic fumes. Increasing our connections with our wholeness, which we may experience as God, the creator, source, or simply oneness, brings us closer to making this dream a reality. We have an inherent connection with divine order. As we evolve spiritually, we unite more with our inner wisdom, which in turn strengthens our connection with all that is. This evolutionary quest is an upward spiral lifting us to higher levels of awareness and wholeness. With love, together we can change the world. And thank you, everyone who's with us, for any role you choose to play in that awakening. And at that time in the 90s, when I saw that so clearly, it was like this light went on. And there are so many things we can do, but understanding that love is the thing that's really going to take us where we want to go helped me to simplify it rather than, because it seems so complex. There's the environment, there are all these different factors. And the underlying, I think, solution is love.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
I love the fact that when you brought up the nature, how healing the nature with love, the same way that nature heals us. It's just going and forest bathing and just walking in the nature. I love hugging trees. And I talk to nursing students and I tell them about the part of self-care is try to hug a tree, and opens up your heart. And the color of green is the color of love, heart chakra, but also Archangel Raphael, which is archangel of healing. The color is associated with that archangel is green as well. So when we're in nature, it's all about healing, and love is healing. So that's an exchange of love that we have with nature. That's the same energy. Energy doesn't, and the energy is not just belong to us, it belongs to the whole world and all the beings and animals and trees, and we're made out of energy. So I love that in your readings you brought the nature up, that how we
Thank
can
you.
bring
Yeah.
healing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also envisaged the nature because I've been working with the elementals. So, of course, the elementals are all within nature. And also, I could see the beautiful, clear waters, the rivers, the streams, the oceans, and the air was pure and clean, and the animals were happy, and the birds were singing, and everything was beautiful and pure and full of love.
Yeah. Yeah. And it seems when you think, well, gee, it's so simple. And then we really are our own worst enemies sometimes. But this was a while back, a year or two ago, I was listening to public radio here in the United States, and there was a show on about kind of the next frontier for humanity. And I thought, wow, this should be really interesting. And it was a group of fellows who were talking more from a scientific perspective. So they were talking about more drugs for the brain and things like that. But to me, really, I think that opening the heart and embracing love as a culture is the next frontier. That's my belief for humanity.
I love that you brought up the drug aspect. So I do palliative care, which is similar to hospice. Palliative means comfort. And about a couple of years ago, there was regulations to cut down the narcotics, which is a good move. However, they didn't come back and say, so now that you're taking away narcotics, how are we going to bring healing? But thankfully, where I work, especially the two nursing homes, they're very open to holistic approach of bringing.
Yeah, that's fortunate.
Yes. And so one of the examples I give is like a baby that cries, the mother holds the baby and the baby gets quiet. And what is that? There's not drugs, it is love. And that's how I have the privilege to work. And even when we go, and it's not just physical pain, there are different kinds of pain, emotional pain, spiritual pain, and they're all tied into one another. And when you go in the room and you radiate that love and acceptance, the whole energy changes. Even in dying patients, and our body dies, of course, we're beautiful, energetic beings, souls, but even it brings peace to that situation. So as we work on ourselves and we become more embodiment of love, wherever we go, we are the healer.
Yeah, definitely. Because it radiates out from us. And so sometimes, that we just have it in our energy field. And so it touches people without us necessarily touching them. But at the same time, if somebody is about to make their transition and you're able to hold their hand, it's so caring for them, because that was one of the things I learned in Reiki, was to be able to help someone make a peaceful transition. And purely by being able to touch them or hold them and take them into that place. And it makes such a world of difference to us as well as to them.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. And it um it's something, it seems like, from our work and from writing a lot, we connect a lot with different different areas and the science behind the heart, and also the philosophy that has come down through the ages, where the heart really has been considered to be the center of our being, and also the spiritual bridge by cultures over the ages. And I think Buddha said, the way is not in the sky, the way is in the heart.
Yeah.
And I think if you look, I'm not sure what's happening in Australia. I know that for those of us in the United States, there's a lot of hatred going around, which is it, it hurts the heart. And how is that over there where you are?
Well, there is a lot of discontent in some ways,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think it's quite to the extent that it is in America.
Right.
Because we have a lot of different ways of looking at things, and our situation with COVID, etc., is different over here to what it is over there, because we're almost back to living normal lives. We
Oh,
only have
really?
a few
Wow.
restrictions on us, but other than that, we're almost living normal lives.
Mm-hmm.
So because we went into lockdown, etc., and that was it. It was lockdown, and you had to listen to it. And I think also because we're an island, so we don't have people crossing borders into Australia. So that makes a big difference.
Yeah.
But as far as COVID is concerned, we're almost back to a normal life in many of our states.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's really fortunate.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, having done healing work since for all this time, for actually a few decades now, starting really, my husband and I were at a place in our lives where we were just losing our kind of zest for life because we were living a conventional life. I was an architect, he was an educator, and things were going well. We had the house, we had the cars, we had we had the vacations, everything looked fine on the outside, but inside I just felt like I was dying. And I think that for those of us who are really waking up, it does, at a certain point, it just becomes not so much an option as a mandate that something has to change. And with all of the work that we've done, like both of you, we studied Reiki, and we studied a lot of many different things, hypnotherapy, NLP, all kinds of spiritual healing techniques, and I've realized over the years, for myself, working with people, it has really simplified to understanding that love is the healer, and that when we can somehow interject love into the pain of a situation, emotional or even physical pain, or mental pain, it's all holistic, it's all connected. Um, that's where where miracles can happen, because also then we enter the simplicity of what's the potential is there.
As Rumi says, love is the bridge between us and everything. And I love that because it's everything. So it's not only the bridge between us and other human beings, but also the bridge between us and animals and nature and stars and galaxies. And whenever, like during the pandemic, it created a lot of fear in people, but the only way we could heal that fear is through love and showering ourselves and others with love. And that's what just takes away anything that is, because, all the emotions are related either to fear or love. So when we bring the love in, the emotions that are related to fear, that are not real, because all that is real is love. We are all made out of love, and the fear is just something that comes in, like a cloud that comes in front of the sun, but we are that sun. So as we get shining stronger with our light of love, that those clouds will go away. So even unfortunate situations like pandemic created a situation for humanity to grow more. So we did rise up. I see it even at work, the nurses coming, the way we work together. For me, working now, going past 14 years of doing end of life care, and having the privilege to work with the nurses and other practitioners during this time, I saw how we all came together. During the times of fear, we opened up, we cried, we prayed together. We talked about the spirituality came out more, and language of love, which is the spirituality in music, was more open. So this is the time that when the fear came, a lot of love started pouring down.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think for people who are watching and listening, if you were kind of like me, where I was at a place where I used to feel like I couldn't make a difference, like this is too complicated. There's so much going on in the world. How can I ever matter? And I didn't feel like I mattered. When I started realizing that each of us does matter, which is also a quality of the heart. Your heart knows that you matter. You may have shielded yourself from it, but that is the truth that we find in our hearts. And if you can just be a person that, we've been saying, vibrating love, if you're vibrating love into the world, you're making a big contribution, a positive contribution. So anybody can do that.
Yes.
And it's also really good for you, for your health.
Yes, that's beautiful. I love what you said, Jane. The nursing homes that I work at, there are people that actually they're reading, they're doing, I love the dog. There you go.
He wants some too.
But I have the residents sometimes tell me, that a couple of them, that I want to make a difference in the world. What can I do? This gentleman who has one leg amputated, he's not even sure if he can go out. And I said, just shine your light the way you are right now. With your smile, you're brightening up all these residents. They smile back at you. And wherever we are, and I told him, gave him the example of stars. This star doesn't say, oh, that one is brighter, so I don't need to shine. We're all those beautiful, we can be that beautiful light and the stars. So wherever we go, whatever we do, if we just bring love into it, it's definitely brings healing to the world.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Certainly does. It certainly does. And it's just really so easy to do when we step into that place of love. And it's all in our energy, as you were saying, Sunny. It's just radiates out from us, which I think is just beautiful. Mm-hmm. It's not hard. It's easy. We just need to step into that place.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. To believe that we matter.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's funny when I was an architect, architects are very kind of mental and intellectual, and in that kind of society, if you were just kind of focused on being happy and loving and joyful, and which is really where I'm coming from now, they would consider that simple-minded. It's like, if you're that simple-minded, then that means you're just really not very bright. The world is so much more complicated than that. And on a certain level it is. But for those of us who aren't scientists or whatever it is, there is so much we can do for the world. And I wanted to talk just a little bit too about the science of the heart, because I think it is really remarkable what's being recognized now. When we first started connecting with the love in our hearts, which was in the late 1980s, we didn't have any of the kind of scientific evidence that we have now, but heart math and other scientific studies are finding that our hearts become clear, filling with love and gratitude, and amazing things happen when we make this our focus. Our heart rhythms shift, bringing the body and the whole new body into a state of harmony. It has numerous practical benefits, reduces stress, and relaxes the organs, producing positive effects that even offset the effects of aging. And if you look at also the fact, if you look at any studies on stress is a killer. Yeah. It's associated with almost every chronic disease, and love and happiness as a different way of being. I have to put him down here so he can go for a walk. Love and happiness have the opposite effect. They're really anti-aging, clearing, loving hearts. Also engage the higher cognitive functioning of the brain. And it brings the brain, like the head and the heart, into a state of coherence when we practice it regularly, so that there's not that kind of discord between them. Like my heart says no and my head says yes, and it gets so that they actually speak the same language. So it's really amazing if you look at the benefits of it for yourself personally, and then when you expand that out to what it does in all ways for the planet and nature and everything, it is like amazing. And all we have to do is sit around and vibrate love.
Yes.
I mean, we can do more, but it's a start.
Yes, definitely. Love is just amazing how powerful it is. Even in the hardest times when somebody is transitioning from this earthly journey, it sometimes a lot of people don't want to talk about death and dying because they look at it like a negative thing. It can be a sacred place when people let go of the fear of dying, of what's going to happen. And I have the privilege to walk with them through that journey and reminding them that they're loved and that's all there is, and pour down love on them. It's just amazing. They see gates of heaven, they see angels. One of my patients said, like hours before she transitioned, all I feel is love. This amazing wave of love just coming out of my heart. And I could feel it. And even in the hardest situation, for all the fears come mainly from fear of death. That's the biggest fear for humans. And even at that moment, if we bring love in, it brings healing to the soul. And that's the main thing, is healing our soul. So when we're gone, if we're going to do reincarnation again, how are we going to come back? And sometimes if you don't have attachment, I'm hoping that I'm going to work from the other dimension as an angel. So I'm doing all I can to become love. And angels are pure beings of love. And I've had many encounters with angels, and at night I have a lot of visitations. And as you mentioned, Jane, you said that people think it's simple-minded,
Right.
but children they call it imaginary friends. Children are all love. They haven't been taught fear of this and that. After the age of 2, 3, as they get older, that is when they bring those fears in. That's when they don't talk about their imaginary friends, or they question themselves. So if we actually become simple, like children,
Right.
and the gates of heaven opens up for us. As Jesus said, it's just, you want to go to heaven, become like little children. Little children, all there is, it's love. They're pure beings of love. And at the nursing home, not only I pray and hold their hand, but I dance. I go and I sing to them. I dance to them, and I'm not worried about people judging me. And I've got to a point that, if I'm not harming anybody, if I'm bringing joy, I don't mind if people look at me and judge me or think I'm simple-minded or crazy for hugging the tree or dancing in the nursing home or singing to my patients. And so it is good to be simple, childlike like that.
Yes, because as adults, we sometimes put too many expectations on ourselves, and we just need to let all those expectations go and go back to the simple things in life: love and caring and kindness. And then I think sometimes we have gone through stages where we're our own worst enemy, and then we come back into this place of love, and we realise this is where we're meant to be, and this is what is meant to be happening in our lives, not meeting all these unreal expectations that we put on ourselves.
Right.
Yes.
And the heart
love never dies.
In relation to all of that, if you connect with the truth in your heart, when you're and if you're vibrating love, you're vibrating at a high vibration where actually you are connected more with your soul's truth and also with angels, with guides. There's just so much potential there. And from that place, you can get your own reassurance about where you are in your journey in terms of your purpose and all of these expectations, like we have to do things faster and faster, and people are running around so wildly. And I a while back said my main goal in the day to be in the flow with joy and ease. Like that's one of my main kind of foundational things during the day, is to be in that place of flow with joy and ease, and which really is being more in your body, in the moment.
Yeah.
By its nature, um, things do flow. It just is amazing how much better things go. If you're fighting against things, you get something is going to fight back.
Yes, it's beautifully said, Jane. And going with the flow and not fighting. A lot of times we fight because of fear of we want to be in control, and we think that we know the best, and we go in our minds and we're trying to make logic and, oh, this is the best way, it has to be like that. But as you mentioned, if we just let go and let heart take over, and heart will guide us to the right place. And that's how we communicate with divinity and with God, with angelic beings, with spirit guides. And it's through our heart. It's a nonverbal communication. It pretty much, we let go of the head and become this big heart with ears. When I do grief support, that's what I become, a big heart with ears. There's no judgment. No, I'm not there to think of, oh, why you said that. That is just a heart with wings, and being there with wings and with ears, wings too. So becoming like angels, that's how angels are, just a big heart with wings. And that is just magical. And that's when we tap into that love, and that's when we see the miracles, the synchronicities happen. As you mentioned, Jane, everything starts flowing because we're in sync now. The universe can work with us.
Yeah, and it's such a relief. When I was younger, I was afraid of just about everything. I think fear was my main mode of being, and then I at some point I realized, all these things I'm afraid of, none of them ever happen. The things that have been, like, maybe you'd say tragedies or the major stressors in my life, haven't been things that I imagined with all my fears. I imagined just hundreds of other things that never really occurred. And I think also from that perspective, if we are in a vibrating in a place where that's more joyful and loving, we have the resources, we have the inner resources to be able to deal with what's going on. In the sense, I really do feel now the presence of angels and guides, and that there is nothing for me to fear. That I'm being held, and I really feel that, and it's such a relief just to let go of all of that control that we feel we have to have over our lives.
Yes. I wanted to touch on animals now that your lovely dog is here with us. I can feel.
Yeah, we call him Buddy.
Buddy,
Buddy, 3 months ago, or maybe a little more than that. We've had him for about 3 months. He was rescued from a junkyard. The poor thing, in the winter. He was out in there all night and everything. So he's obviously a very happy little camper now.
I feel the love coming this way, but it's
He's
amazing how animals are just pure beings of love. And especially our domestic animals, cats and dogs. And if I'm not feeling well, if you don't feel well when the love meter is down, I call it, oh, my love meter is going down, so I feel drained. And my cat just comes and sits next to me or on my heart and purrs. Wow. Because somehow, I don't know how it all works, and it's so many things that we can't comprehend in the human form, that how things work and about creation and everything. But somehow that energy, it just brings healing through love. And that's why they're service animals, that they go to the nursing homes and And as soon as the people see that animal, they go next to him, you feel the sense of the vibration is changing, shift of energy, especially for people who are sensitive and they can recognize that. So one of the parts of my grief support is encouraging people to spend time with their pets. And other than, being in the nature, getting their feet in the grass and spending time with the pets, or even if they don't have pets, just sit out and look at the birds and feel the love, because love comes from all these places that and I love the trees behind you, Carol-Ann. It's beautiful. So we have animal, we have trees, and we have angels.
Yeah. We have it all. We have it all.
And lots of hearts. We have hearts over here.
And the love, the word love there by you.
Yeah.
Jane.
And that's another thing I find. You're vibrating often with what's in your environment. And it reminds me of a story Philip told about a client who was unhappy, and she was just very stressed. And sometimes he would use kinesiology to determine what the source was. And he said, well, I see something in your bedroom. And she said, I don't know what it is. I can't imagine what it is. And he just let it go, and they went on with what they were doing. And I think a little later in another session, she contacted him, and she said, you know what? I realized what it was. I had this sad clown in my bedroom, a stuffed animal, and it's going. So if you can have angels like that, and hearts and nature, all of those things, plants, even house plants, are very healing and healthy.
Yep, definitely. But talking about animals are so intuitive. And I think that you would probably see this when you're working with people and the service animals. They know exactly what that person they've gone to is thinking and feeling, because they're so amazing. My cousin's partner recently made his transition, and the next morning she woke up and she had four of her cats sitting on the bed just watching her. And I just said they were just there to support you and loving you and letting you know that they were there. So, animals.
I'm looking at it.
So, animals are amazing. So, yeah.
Yes, I also wanted to encourage our audience to connect to their angels. There's so many people and it doesn't matter if you, what spiritual belief you have. We all are spiritual because we're all energetic beings, or spirit, however you want to call it, in this body. And if you believe in love, you're spiritual. So as Rumi said, my religion is love. And I love that. And angels are a being of love. So from any religious background or no religion, no spirituality, angels are there to connect with us. And Archangel Michael is an amazing archangel, and his color is blue. I have a lot of blue, navy blue. And he's just so powerful. And when you invite them, they come to you and they connect with you, and you have friends in high places. And with your guardian angel, yes, there was a song. It's just, I have friends in low places. I sing it. I say, I have friends in high places. So that's one thing I wanted to encourage you all. And also another thing is, meditation is so powerful. Even if you take like few minutes, even 5 minutes when you first wake up, and 5 minutes at the end of the day. And what it does, it's because our mind is the troublemaker, and all these thoughts and comes up, and fears and worries. And if we go in the past, we worry or regret things, and we can become depressed. Go in the future, you worry and get anxiety. So what we do with meditation, you just drop into your heart. The way I do is, I call it Sacred Heart of Jesus meditation, because that vision of Sacred Heart that is glowing, and that's where the seat of the soul is, as Jane mentioned. just breathing in and out of your heart and just thinking that's what you are. You are a heart with wings. And just 5 minutes, the thoughts come, let them go. You're that vast sky, and the thoughts come. But 5 minutes in the morning, and before you go to bed, just do that little meditation. You drop into your heart, you become with your essence, which is love, and then you have good night's sleep. Because when you're just basking in love, there's no other way to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
No, meditation is amazing when we just do that. And as you say, it only needs to be a couple of minutes. So, it does. It just makes the whole system just relax and go into the place above.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was wanting actually as part of this to mention one of the process that I learned. My Philip, my husband, he is my Philip. We've been married. We're having our 40th wedding anniversary this year. So this is my Philip.
Congratulations.
Anyhow, the process that we learned in the late 1980s that really, we were spiritual before that, and we were seeking actually to have access to higher guidance and wisdom, and found little things here and there that were okay, but then we learned this meditation we call it soul centering. In fact, we're just finishing a book all about it, and which is really what Sunny was talking about, just connecting with the love that you hold in your heart and allowing that to emanate through your body and around you. And I wanted to just let everybody know that we have actually a page on our website that you can access to get that soul centering process, which I'm going to give you the tiny URL now because our website, the URLs are kind of long. So it's tinyurl.com/soul-center. And the website is actually gettingthrough.org, gettingthru.org, which has a lot. It's a large website. But I think just if you can just, when you Buddy won't
Wants to be a part of it.
He says, this is great. I love this. He jumped over the armrest even on my chair to get here. He's a good jumper. If you can just take a couple minutes and just breathe, start breathing and then breathing, focusing on love, breathing that love into your heart. He says, yes. And another thing I'd like to do is imagine then as I radiate that love out from my heart, that I've put little hearts into every cell. And when I do that, I can feel it now. My whole body tingles. It's like the cells know. And our cells do have intelligence too. So if you say I have a heart for every cell and just imagine all of your cells having that love, it really does make a difference. And that it can just take a few minutes. Even just stopping and focusing on your breath can change your state quite a bit in a moment. And then you can just take it a little deeper. I'm so glad you both mentioned that, because it doesn't have to be that hard either. Again, it's another thing, and I also think sometimes people spend a lot of time on meditations that don't take them to the truth of who they are. If you connect with your heart, you're connecting with your center, and that's the seat of the soul in the body. Mm-hmm. And you really do feel like you're doing something. Yeah. And that's what happened to me anyhow. It changed my life. I went from not wanting to get up in the morning. I was working, I was an architect and unhappy. And when I started that, I would get up. I decided I would have to get up 15 minutes earlier so I could do the process. And I found that I actually couldn't wait to get up in the morning to do it then. and doing it, I think, actually energized me in a way that then I was very happy to be able to get up, and a lot of things started changing. So don't, any of us can do much more than we imagine.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, it's beautiful. And I was curious too, Carol Ann, if you have any other insights on saying you work with elementals, what you sense in that realm.
Oh, well, I could go on for hours about that.
Well, just
But you were talking about your pot plant, how we can just have a pot plant in the room. So in every pot plant, there is at least a fairy. And so the elementals are on, just as the angels are in a slightly different dimension to us, but we know they're there and we can work with them. Then the elementals are in another dimension as well. And so I like to think you need to I have a good imagination. And so I can be out in my trees, because these beautiful trees are in my yard. I'm lucky to live on acreage. And so I'm aware of the nature sprites and the elves and the fairies and the tree dryads and all of the energy of the trees. And so, I always love to think, and at the moment it's raining here. We've got quite a bit of rain in Brisbane at the moment. So any part of where there's water, then there's the what I call the undines, which are the water divas. And so, sometimes when you walk along and you see a puddle of water, how when we're children, we want to jump in that puddle of water and splash the water. Well, that's all of the little water sprites that are in there wanting you to come in and play with them. And so as an adult, you can go and do that as well. Go and stand in the rain. And we're just surrounded by these beautiful, beautiful elementals. And when you go out into the wilderness or into a park or a forest or something like that, the energy is so different. It's because of all of the elementals that are out working to sustain our beautiful planet, Mother Gaia. They're working really hard. And they're cleaning the air and they're cleaning the earth and they're cleaning the rivers, and they work with us and for us. And, that to me is just such an exciting thing. But, you don't have to, you can use your imagination, Jane, and you can visualize a fairy in any pot plant, in any garden.
I love that. And so, we have a bird bath in the backyard, and I fill it with water. Yeah. And I can just see all the water sprites now in there.
Yeah. Look, it's amazing when you just allow yourself to step into that place, that magical place. It is just beautiful. And working with the angels, they are just wonderful as well. And so, we're really blessed to be here at this time on our beautiful Mother Gaia. So when you're sitting out in your garden or with your pot plants, Jane, having a little cuppa, just step into that meditation space and just let your eyes relax and your body relax, and you will be aware of the elementals that are around. You might not see them exactly as you might picture them, but you will feel their energy. You will know their energy. You will know their love that they have for you and that they have for Gaia and they have for the whole universe. I just love working with them.
Wow. Yeah, that's beautiful. And we have a nice backyard. We've done landscaping, and I have potted plants, and we're growing flowers now. It's spring here. So we're growing flowers, and I am going to focus more on that. I think that would be a lot of fun.
It is.
It's inviting them in. Does that make them more present in your environment?
You're more aware of them. They're there anyway, but you're aware of them, and they're aware that you're aware of them. That they're there. And it's the same as when we're working with Spirit and the angel. When you set up that relationship with them, your relationship goes stronger and stronger the more you work with them.
Yeah, that's it sounds like another beautiful way also to connect with the planet and feel like you're part of it.
Yeah.
I don't, people question their imagination, or sometimes when patients see stuff, they say they're hallucinating. And for me, it's like, how do you know? Why do you even use that word? Or where is the imagination coming from? It is real. And what we take away is we bring our mind, our logic that, oh, I can't see it with my physical eyes, so it cannot be real.
Yeah.
So, but if we put that brain, again, the mind that's questioning away and drop into our heart, everything starts with imagination. Even a house that we buy or a child or whatever we do or pet we get, first we imagine. We get that imagination, we get that picture. And that's when we manifest. So definitely imaginations are real. And I always tell people, we're loving souls in this body. And talking about loving soul, actually my website is yourlovingsoul.com. So,
beautiful.
That is beautiful.
Yourlovingsoul.
I'll have to. And you just created something new on your website, didn't you?
Yeah.
I think you were telling me you were doing.
Well, that's my website.
Right.
And I have some YouTube meditations also under Dr. Sanaz, capital D, little r, space, S as Sam, A as an apple, N as Nancy, A as an apple, and Z as zebra. So I have meditations under Dr. Sanaz, and my Facebook is Sunny Molavi, Sunny, Sunny, and Molavi, Molavi. I think my name is on the in this site. So those are my information. I know we're coming to the end, so I might, but yes, thank you so much. It's been really, really just an honor, a privilege to share space with you all and with all the audience. I feel really blessed to be a part of this.
Me too. And it's so wonderful having Carol Ann with us from Australia.
Oh, well, thank you for asking me to stay. So, I've really enjoyed. I'd already met you, Jane, but it was wonderful to meet you, Sunny. And the work that you're doing is just so important and so needed. And you're just such a beautiful soul going out and doing that work. And thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I think
Jane, you're just amazing too. You and your
thank you.
Your show too. I just love what you do as well.
Yeah, we definitely feel like our hearts led us to this, and I think the more you connect in with the truth in your heart, for all of us, you recognize that you're a wonderful, special being. You're here for a reason.
Yeah,
all of us are, and all of us need to realize that there's no one else like us, and we have something positive to contribute to the world.
Definitely.
And then starting with love, that's a good place to start. Because you can make a difference with love wherever you are.
Yes.
Which also reminds me, going out and sharing just positive moments with people when you're out, I think is another very simple thing to do. And that really opened me up more too, when I saw how people light up when you just say hello or say, well, gee, that's a beautiful sweater you have on, or just something that's coming from your heart to theirs, and they light up. Yeah. Because that doesn't happen a lot.
No.
Not around here.
No, and sometimes just when you're meeting somebody in the street or in the supermarket or whatever, just smile at them, because sometimes, even if they don't smile back, but sometimes that might be the only smile that person sees all day long. So, you have just shared that little bit of love with them by smiling and saying hello.
Right.
And there's no judgment in love. So I encourage all the audience, if they would just letting go, all of us, letting go of judgment. Mother Teresa said you can't judge and love at the same time. No. And
that's true. They don't occupy, and fear and love don't, and stress and love don't occupy the same space either. So
yes, and forgiveness, because I see a lot of families at the end, they still have grudges, and that's not good for our soul. So forgiveness is for your own person, for you, because you don't want to. One of the sayings of Dr. Dyer's, it is like a a bite of a snake, it's not the bite that kills you, it's the venom that stays inside of you. So
Yes.
that toxic energy, if you don't forgive, it's bad for your soul. And just sending out love with forgiveness. So that's another thing that I encourage our audience. And thank you so much again.
Yeah.
And I'm sending you all energy of love from here, all of you, wherever in the world you are.
Yeah, I think we all are.
you.
And that makes such a difference. Just if you can just think of someone and send them love, it's a beautiful contribution that you can make. Yeah.
Yes, it certainly is.
Yeah. So I want to thank you both for being here. This has been so much fun, and my heart really is singing just from having this opportunity. So I want to just mention also that the keys and strategies we share on this show, the ultimate goal is to provide some ways that all of us, that anyone can contribute something positive to make positive changes for themselves, etc. And I think that we've had some really good suggestions here. So I want to thank you both for that. And if anyone out there wants to know more about Awakenings Institute, you can find out about our courses, books, and other offerings on our extensive website. As I mentioned, it's gettingthrough.org, which is gettingthrough.org. And the main page probably is gettingthrough.org/holistic. There's also one gettingthrough.org/awakenings, where you can read Awakenings Dream and learn more about the organization and our mission of creating a more loving world. And to close, I just want to say that we value the support of everyone who's here, and just being here, I know that you're making a difference in the world. So I want to really thank you for that, and mention again, if you share the message of love with those around you, together we truly can change the world. So I want to wish everyone a wonderful week. And again, thank you, Carol Ann and Ruth and Enlightened World Network for inviting us to this special weekend.
Yes,
Well, thank you, Jane, and thank you, Sunny. On behalf of Enlightened World, I'd like to thank you both for being here on this beautiful launch weekend. And I look forward to hearing more from you both in the future. And I'm sure that our viewers around the world are going to share this segment out around. And so thank you very much. And